know, we always love to find cool and hip things and fun things to enhance your life.
Yes, we do,
Yeah.
and I believe we have stumbled upon one of the greatest things that nature has ever created, right?
It really is. Hey, everybody, this is Home Wizards, Eric Stromer and Cindy Dole, and we went to this great nursery that Eric and I love. They sell succulents, and they sell this thing called the Airplant. And we really didn't know much about Airplants until we did a little more investigating, and it turns out that it is so cool. And it's something that's grown in South America and Central America and Mexico, and it looks like an octopus, basically.
Right. You know what it reminds me of? Remember the movie Avatar?
Yeah.
It reminds me of those sort of
Floaties.
organic floating
The floaty,
shapes.
squiggly squids. Yeah. And just like Avatar, these guys have different colors, and they come to life with flowers. And so we thought we'd talk about how you can enjoy this plant that really is easy to grow. It's no matter where you live, it could be a fun house plant.
Right.
Or outside. Like, where do you have yours right now?
I have mine hanging with fishing wire in a tree over a fountain in my backyard, and it looks like these things are suspended in midair and just floating and hovering.
Except the only thing you would advise is that when the wind kicked up.
Yeah, that's the one problem is that they're not weighty enough to stay solid in a high wind, so they'll twist on you unless you put some sort of a, like a votive maybe that you put these in, or a fishing weight of some sort.
But it sure is cute.
Sure is pretty.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
And so I did in our backyard. Our kitchen faces outside to this really pretty wall of ivy and succulents, and a nice little nook to have some, I don't know.
I don't think you have much wind back there, do you?
Not much wind.
Probably a good choice.
And it's a bright light, but it's a shaded light, and that's what these guys love. And we created basically a living curtain. It's a kitchen curtain using the fishing line again, wrapping around these little air plants. So first, what the heck is an air plant? So an air plant is something called a Tillandsia, and it's part of the pineapple family, or the bromeliad, which means that it has those kind of stiff leaves. If you can picture how a pineapple has those stiff, fronds, right? And if you've seen the bromeliads, remember when we were at the landscape center, we saw that beautiful one that had the purple flowers.
Sure,
that also was like the bromeliad. It's that same kind of a flower that loves to have water, but not sitting in water. And so the air plant, it can live without soil. It just lives in air.
It just lives in air, yeah.
But it needs to be watered.
It does need to be. It needs to be misted, doesn't it?
Misted. And we also found out it likes to have a bath. It likes to have a little bath. So when I got my air plants, we put them in the kitchen sink with some water, and let them soak for 2 hours. And then you put them on a towel to dry them out, because they don't want to be sitting in the water. They like to soak it up, but then they want to be, especially at nighttime, they don't want to be in water. They want to just be
So you'd want to do this in the daytime?
Yeah, during the day.
Yeah.
And do that maybe...
No, I didn't do that with mine. I didn't soak mine.
You don't have to, but I mean, you might want to do it like after a few weeks, kind of as a nice little treatment. So like think at least once a month, twice a month, and then other than that, you're with a bottle of water, you're misting it.
I do that. I do that every couple of days. Is that the right frequency, you think?
How many times?
Maybe every 4 days.
Perfect, yeah. Especially if it's outside, and you don't want them to be in direct sunlight, because they're really more of they like bright light, but not in the hot, burning, direct sunlight.
Right.
But these air plants, they come in so many different flavors and species. I mean, there's about 500 different varieties. It's amazing. And they all have these different textures to them. Like this one that I got, it's kind of a silver green. Did you get that one?
Got one of those.
And it's larger and has really curly tentacles. It looks very much like an octopus. And some of the others are more like little tufts, almost like the end of a broom.
I got to show you mine. It's flowering now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, this beautiful purple and blue flower coming out. It's just glorious. I can't believe it. My kids are overwhelmed by it, because it reminds you of remember those mobiles what is it, a mobile? Yeah. They're all balanced on different strings and stuff. It has that look of
it's a science project in a way, right? And it's fun. It is fun for kids and fun for family. And if you're looking inside your space and you're thinking, I'd like to have some indoor plants, I really encourage you to try these air plants. And you can probably find them if you go to a cactus or succulent type center, you might find them in some of the big box stores, but this is really more of a specialty plant. So you have to and you can buy them online too. There's all kinds of information if you just
they'll
Google.
ship them to you. you, huh?
They'll ship them to you, and they have different, breeds and varieties, and some that are more unusual and rare than others. Like one that we got, the leaves or the tentacles, if you will, are maroon.
Really?
Which is kind of fun. But with these air plants, I mean, here, you'd used fishing line, and so did we, and you hung them or suspended them from a tree.
Right.
So that's one thing you can do. We used a bamboo pole that we created as almost like a quote-unquote curtain rod with hooks to a ceiling outside our window, and again, the fishing line. And you can, I mean, these air plants are very durable. You just can wrap the line around them. It's not going to hurt them.
No.
But you can also use a glue gun and attach them to a branch.
Yeah, and you
like
have
driftwood.
You have them in a terrarium too,
and
which
you
looks
can put
great.
them in a terrarium.
Yeah.
And so, like inside, if you have a space inside your home, in your kitchen, whatever, or your bathroom, wherever you want,
Right.
as long as it has some bright light, and it needs to have air. You can't put a lid on top of the container. It isn't like a total terrarium where it's trapped and wants just to live in the of the existing air. It needs to have fresh air.
Sure.
And then you're going to again need to take it wherever you put it. Just remember, you have to get it out to mist it once a week at least. So that needs to be part of your thing. And when you go online, I was sharing with you, Eric, some of those very cool globes that you can get to house. They're like little votives with almost the shape of an egg, and at that kind of an odd shape where the hole is, where the little air plant can be sitting inside, and you could hang or suspend that with, again, the fishing line or a chain, and make a chandelier of air plants.
That's great. And then the other thing too, if you go on vacation for a while, it's interesting how you can sort of have them go dormant for a couple of weeks while you're gone. And I guess you soak them for 3 hours or for 4 hours 3 days before you go, and then 12 hours immediately before you leave again. And then you put it in a shady, dark spot, and then you just take off for as long as you go, and then they sort of wake up after you come back from vacation. You missed them again and hang them back up, and they're good to go. They're kind of miracle plants. They
totally are.
Yeah.
And I think that it's one of those things where it becomes addicting because it's almost like the pet rock. Or
well, it's almost like they've taken over the house and they're everywhere. And it's like enough of the air. My wife's like, enough already with these air plants.
I know. But if you go on, you can Google. There's all kinds of websites that are just devoted to air plant groups and clubs. And there's different really creative ways to display the air plant. I mean, from having it in a container, having it on a piece of driftwood, you can even put it in a shell.
Right.
You can put it in a baked potato. No,
you could put it in a hat if you wanted. Wear an air plant hat.
But I think it's clever to put it in a shell because it just kind of tucks in there. I mean, they don't ask for much. They just want some nice light.
They just want to be loved. Is that so wrong?
And some air.
Yeah.
That's
all.
So check them out. Go to, I think if you went to a cactus succulent specialty store, you would find some of the more unusual ones. And think of it this way, that this plant is going to produce a flower, and it's also going to produce what they call pups. In other words, it's going to give you babies, and then you can just tear those little babies off, and you'll have new air plants.
And so now here's what I don't know. How big do these things get?
I think that they stay, I mean, some of the varieties stay like the size of maybe your thumb, and some, I have one right now that's almost the size of the palm of my hand.
Sure, yeah.
I can't imagine them ever getting much bigger than the palm of your hand, but there's different varieties. You just have to kind of do a little research on it. But do you have any of the sizes of the palm?
I got one that's
about the size of your hand.
I bought it and it was the size of my hand. Now it's the size of a Volkswagen. And my cat's missing.
I think it's that's a car plant. That's not an air plant. Your cat's missing.
You know what you could do? Hang it in the rearview mirror of a car. That'd be kind of cool. I bet it would work.
And what would it do?
It'd just be decorative.
Just don't do, my pet peeve, don't hang crystals from your rearview mirror. Some people, those prisms.
How about my zodiac sign in my rear window?
No.
Is that bad?
No.
Don't
but
do
those
it?
prisms, I'm serious. Have you had that? Have you been zapped by the prism light where, it looks pretty. It looks like it's a little crystal ball that people hang from their car.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, and you're driving and the sun hits it and it's almost like a laser light that just kind of zaps you and it blinds you.
Don't like it.
But the air plant, I guess you could hang that from, By the way, one more little tip. If by chance you do have a brown thumb and your air plant is unhappy, you can revive a neglected air plant.
How do you do it?
It doesn't require CPR, but again, it's that same thing. It's the spa bath. The same thing you were talking about for pre-vacation.
Sure.
That's the solution. It just wants moisture.
That's all.
Yeah.
Like a spa, little bath.
And just make sure that when you are using the water, that you're using just regular water. You don't they don't want artificially softened water that has too much sodium in it, because that's going to draw out the moisture, and it could even turn the leaves black.
And then what's the other? Oh, fertilizing. Do we need to do that or no?
I think you can fertilize anything. I haven't gotten that far because we just got ours. Let's see, what do they say about fertilizing? I guess it's really not necessary, but it will, like anything. If you feed it, it'll come. It'll grow larger. Yeah. And it might even produce better flowers. You could try something that's, I guess, water-based. That's maybe a quarter the strength that's made on, that they say on the label. Sure. Something like for orchid food.
And then what about, we still don't know, and I'll let you know when this flower of mine blooms a little more full, if it has, a nice fragrance to it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Some of them do. Well, when we come back, we have some more great ideas to help you through, get ready for summer, so don't go away. You're listening to Home Wizards, Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, hummingbirds, how to bring those cute little hummingbirds to your garden. That's next, after this.